Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. In this video, we're going to be having a look at the Nintendo 64 controller, which is made for Nintendo Switch Online. Now, this is a fake unboxing. I put it back in the box just for you guys because I know some of you guys like unboxings. I have to say, I like that plastic sheet on top. I do like the way it's packaged, but what you get in the box is you get the Nintendo 64 controller. It's a USB-C charging controller, which is handy because most of the cables I have lying around are USB-C cables. You don't get much in the controller in the box. You get the controller, and once you lift up that little thing at the bottom, you get a USB Type-C cable, USB A to C, and an instruction manual. But hey, who looks at instruction manuals these days? So in this video, we're going to be covering this controller. It's going to be a tutorial showing you how to get this up and running on your MiSTer. Also in this, we're going to show you how to get the N64 core, the latest test build, the latest work in progress build working on your MiSTer. As well as that, that's the Bluetooth adapter that I'm using. I'll leave links to where I got my Nintendo 64 controller from, directly from Nintendo, from their UK eShop or their UK site, and also the Bluetooth adapter, which was recommended to me by, I think, Binary Luke over in Discord, saying that's really, really good. There's not much disconnects and it works really, really well. I'll leave a link to that as well, but we're going to put these things to the test. The controller, I have to say, it's of good build quality. The buttons on it are good. It's really, really good. It just, well, we're going to see how it works. You can kind of make up your own mind as to whether you want to get it or not. I'm just going to run you through some of the stuff. Now, everything I'm going to do, everything I want to do, everything I want to do is not going to be scientific. I'm just giving you a feel of it. So when I do like the latency tests or anything like that, they're not scientific or comprehensive. The main reason for this is get the controller working on your MiSTer. We're also going to test it on the PC, and also get the controller working on the MiSTer, try it on the PC, and that's really it. And obviously we're going to put a tutorial of how to get the core up and running. So actually, before we get into the video, let's have a look at our Bluetooth adapter. Okay, so I've taken it out of the box. That's the Bluetooth adapter, and it's quite nice. It's got a little aerial in there, and plop, there's actually a driver disc in there. I don't have many PCs or devices with an optical disc drive. I think there's one in my front room, my old gaming PC, that has a disc drive on it. Not something I'm going to use. I'm just going to plug it in and hope for the best into the MiSTer. Okay, so guys, let's get the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller working on our MiSTers. We're going to have it working wired and wireless. So there's a few prerequisites, and also this is a 2-in-1 tutorial because I'm going to show you how to get the latest version of the Nintendo 64 work in progress core working on your MiSTers. So first of all, head over to the MiSTer FPGA Discord. There's an invite link in the description of the video. And like I say, guys, if you use my invite link, be cool, be nice. Respect others, respect the mods, listen to them. It's a cool place to hang out with some really, really nice people. Feel free to ping me and say, hello, Pixel, you know, I watched your video and I got here, because that always makes me feel warm inside. Anyway, let's get into this. So first thing, when you're over on the Discord, head over to test builds, okay? And once you're over at test builds, have a look at the latest N64 build, which is the 6th of September. Today's the 7th of September. That's when I'm filming it. So yesterday was the latest update. It's quite possible by the time you're watching this video, there's another update out. Robert, the developer, which is him over here, FPGA Spaz, however you say it, he works fast and he's always releasing updates. But let's go ahead and download this. So we're going to download this. Okay, awesome. Now, I've got tabs kind of ready here. So again, under test builds, we've got this here, Z-Image DTB. Now, this here is the actual driver. Now we can download this, and because this is how I added support, I added the drivers manually, but it is part of the MiSTer Unstable. So you can completely kind of, you don't have to do this. You don't have to download this. I'll show it to you anyway, because I guess it's good to know how to add drivers manually in case you need to do that in the future. But if we have a look at Unstable Nightlies, we're going to look on the 1st of September when the latest Unstable MiSTer OS was updated. It added support for Nintendo Switch Online N64 controllers. So that means if we're running any unstable build, well, this unstable build or any unstable build after this, we are going to have Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller support. So just getting over to the next tab, the latest unstable build, so today's the 7th, was released on the 4th. So let's go ahead and grab that one. You know, why not grab the latest one? That's what we need to do. And for our last tab, now this one here, guys, this one here is under controllers. If you head over to controllers, you're going to find this over here, which is MiSTer. So Lemonossi has posted this. So what is this? This is a custom version of the unstable MiSTer build. What this does is this kind of configures all controllers to behave like N64 controllers. Now, if you've been testing out the N64 core on like a regular controller or anything, you'll find that when you move the analog stick, it's very, very sensitive. When I was playing racing games, what was happening, I was moving it a little bit, and guys, it was moving a lot. So if you run this unstable build in a MiSTer, no, this is going to affect all controllers. So this may well affect other cores, and it might just make other stuff less playable or unplayable in some cases. So I would only use this. For example, I've got multiple micro SD cards. If you wanted to do a specific Nintendo 64 setup where, let's say you want to play Mario Kart with everyone and you've only got like 1 or 2 N64 controllers, but you want all the controllers to behave like N64 controllers. So what you can do is you can use this OS, buy a small micro SD card. Like I've got the no intro ROM set. Everything in there is like 30 gigs. So like a 64 gig micro SD card will do. What you can then do is download this version of the MiSTer. Okay, we'll download it. I'm not going to put it on here and demonstrate it because, hey man, I usually play on my own, so I'm happy using other controllers on there. But for example, now all your controllers are going to behave like micro SD N64 controllers. So if you use like a, I don't know, a DualShock 5, a DualShock 4, an Xbox One controller, another 8-bit Dual controller, whatever you use, it's going to cater it for the Nintendo 64. So if you've got a micro SD card you want to only use for N64, you're comfortable going back and forth between OSs, then this might be an option for you. It's not something I'm going to use, but this might be something you guys want to use. Okay, so now let's head over to our micro SD card and our downloads folder. So here we are now. Okay, so that's everything that we downloaded that we saw over here. And this is the root of my micro SD card. Let's just do it in the order that we got it, I think. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing, the Nintendo 64 RBF, this is the core. So in order to get the core working, when you're on your micro SD card, the root of the micro SD card, go over to consoles and just slap that in there. Just drag and drop it in there or copy and paste it. And we have got the latest version of the core. I've got a few different versions of the core on here because I've been testing it. But just now, for the first time, I put the latest version on there. You can delete the old ones if you like. I don't know. I'll just kind of leave them on there in case I ever want to compare anything. So the next thing, the Z image. I'm only showing you this. You don't have to do it because when we put the unstable MiSTer on there, it's going to have that anyway. But just in case you need to update drivers in the future, this is where they go. They go into the Linux folder, and we've already got the Z image underscore DTB there. We're just going to copy that in there. So here we go. Copying that in here. We're going to replace that. It doesn't really matter, it's the same thing, but that was just more to show you guys in case you need to update something manual later where the controller, where the underscore DTB file goes, the Z image underscore DTB file goes. Next up, this is the MiSTer unstable. So this is the one we're going to use. This is the one that turns all controllers or makes all controllers behave like Nintendo 64 controllers. I don't want to use that, but hey, that might actually suit some. Like I said, if you want a dedicated micro SD card, and you just want N64 on there, then that's worth using. Remember, all your settings and everything are on the micro SD card. Once you take that micro SD card and you use a different one, it changes, or if you're competent enough changing that stuff over. But we're not going to use that. I'm just going to delete that one. So what we're going to do here is this is the latest unstable build, and this goes on the root of our MiSTer. As you can see, there's one on here already. It's probably the same one, but for the sake of the video, let's just rename this. And so we're going to rename it to MiSTer, like it is over there. It's just MiSTer by itself, nothing behind it, no extensions, no nothing. Now, what you could do if you really wanted to, if you only got one micro SD card and you might want to go back to your MiSTer main because there's something in the unstable you don't like, you can just call it, or you can call it old, or you can call it main, and that's not going to work now. But what you could do, oh, okay, so I've already done that before. Sorry, I've got an older version on this. Let's just call it, oops, main, okay, main 2. Okay, so I've got a couple of different ones on there, so it's not going to pick these up, right? So what we want to do now is let's copy this over after we've named it MiSTer. So let's put that here, bang. So we are now running the latest version of the MiSTer unstable operating system. We've now also got the core on there. Guys, we are almost good to go. I'm just going to run through the games and kind of what you need to have on there, but honestly, you're good. You just need to set your controller up the way you normally do in the MiSTer main menu, then for the core, and you're good, and your N64, your NSO controller will work on there. So I'm going to try it wired after on a game, and I'm going to try it wireless as well because I haven't tried it wireless yet via Bluetooth. I've got the dongle, I bought the dongle, I've just plugged it in. I can see my MiSTer's picked it up, and we are going to try that. So okay, so we are good here, right? What we got here, okay, so what we want to have a look at now is let's have a look at where the games go. So if we go into games, I've already got a folder created called N64. If not, call it N64. I don't know if it's case sensitive. It could be uppercase. I have it uppercase. Maybe it's not case sensitive, but do it how I've done it because I know that works. N64. And once we go in here, really important, you need the boot.rom file, which is the BIOS. Now I can't help you with that, but maybe you can search the internet. It's called something like, you know, N64 BIOS and PIF. Put that in there, but there's more information on Vampier's website, which I will leave in the description of the video. Check that out. It's got all this information in there in written form, so it helps you, tells you what to rename the BIOS to. Doesn't tell you where to get the BIOS from, but it helps you as much as it can from a legal standpoint. And over here, and also on Vampier's site, you have got this, the N64 database.txt. You want to add that again to the N64 games folder, and that will just load the best settings for each game. It just makes the whole thing just run better. And then you've got your ROMs. So under hacks, I've got, which I've done a video on a few days ago, Mario Kart 64 amped up. That works really well. I didn't have any crashes with it or anything. It just works, and it's a really good ROM hack of Mario Kart. I've got a video on the channel a few videos back. Check that out. You might like that. And if you want to play Super Mario 64, you need the no face ROM hack. So Super Mario 64, look for the no face ROM hack. Convert your ROM over, and bang, that's how you can play Super Mario 64. The normal ROM will not work. Now these are my ROMs, no intro set, and go for, I think they're called like Big Endian. Big Endian, I think it's Big Endian, but the extension you want is .z64. At least that's the best for me. It does support other extensions, like I think the N64 ones, but the best results I've always had when there's updates or anything, Z64s have always worked for me. And if you grab the no intro ROM set, which is archived on the internet somewhere, then they're going to be in the Z64 format anyway. And guys, that's pretty much it. The core's going to be running, the controller should be running. Now let's go ahead and look at the controller in action. We're going to try it wired first, and then we're going to look at it wireless. Okay guys, once we're on our MiSTers, I probably don't need to tell you this, guys. First of all, go over to define joystick buttons and define your joystick buttons. Put the controller in there, put the analog stick in there, and just set the controller up. And then once you set it up in there, make sure when you load the N64 core or any core out there, you set the controllers up within the core itself. Obviously that's important, but you guys know that because that's basic 101 of playing the MiSTer. Okay guys, so the first we're going to test this controller wired on the MiSTer, and here we are. We're just testing Mario Kart. We're going to see how it plays. Oh, and I got my turbo wrong. What a bad start. Never mind. Hopefully I can catch up. And look, moving it left, right, guys, it feels okay. Like I'm not having issues with this. If there's any latency with it wired, I'm not feeling it, and to me this feels awesome to play. I have been playing this because I got this controller before I got the Bluetooth dongle. So initially I used it wired, and I haven't done a video in it, and honestly it feels okay wired. Like if you want to use this wired with your MiSTer, absolutely no issues. Remember, we've got the drivers on there via the latest unstable build, and Mario Kart just feels absolutely fine. And there's just something nice about playing it on an authentic Nintendo 64 controller. I know newer analog sticks are better, but playing this, it just kind of reminds me of my teenage years, you know, better times, less responsibility, and more gaming. But yeah, wired, guys, this works really well. And what we're going to do next is a little bit unorthodox, because I want to test it on 2D games, but I don't know too many 2D games on a Nintendo 64. So I'm going to load up an arcade core, and I'm going to check that out, and I just want to see if I feel latency while I play that. Okay guys, here we are with Captain Commander, and I've kind of chose this game because in 2D games I can feel the latency more, definitely more than I can feel on 3D. So we're still on a wired controller, and I don't know, there's not enough 2D games on the Nintendo 64 that I played, and honestly, even initially, it feels okay. Again, like yeah, this isn't like really a major latency test, but I kind of wanted to put it in there because one of the reasons we like our MiSTer is because of the lack of latency, and you know, that's one of the main reasons I got it. That, and obviously Super Turbo was really good on it. But yeah, this feels okay wired. It'll be interesting to see. We'll run the same game and we'll see how it runs with a with it on Bluetooth, just to see if there's much of a difference between playing it wired or wireless. But it feels okay. Look, when I'm turning, the turn feels like pretty instant. Like if there is any latency there, it's very minimal when using it wired. So wired could be a good option, because sometimes if there's something with latency, when I turn direction, on a walk, he won't stop instantly. There'll be like a little step after it, and I'm not getting that on this. So And I wanted to test on an arcade car. Now it's a bit weird for an N64 thing. I just can't think of many games on the N64 where at least I would feel the latency. And honestly, Captain Commando, if this had latency on there or bad latency, I would feel it. Okay guys, I've never ever paired anything Bluetooth on the MiSTer. The only thing I've used like, you know, the 8-bit dongles, which just let you press the button on the dongle and pair it. So you can pair it on any device and it'll work on any other device once it's paired, but you can only pair one device to that. So let's just try and do it. I'm not looking at any instructions or anything. I think I need to press F11. Here you go, switch input devices, pairing. Okay, cool, right. So let me press the button on there, the pairing button. Oh wow, cool, that was quick. Name N64 controller, is given the address, pairing, trusting, connecting. Wow, that was easy, guys. Right, now let's try and load the game and see how we get on. Okay guys, so now we are on Bluetooth and we're testing out Mario Kart, and guys, like, yeah, it's very, very good. It's like, you saw how easy it was to pair the controller via Bluetooth, like a lot easier than I expected. And after that, I kind of rebooted my MiSTer. To be honest, I've done a few shoots of this because at one point my mic was plugged out. I plugged it out earlier and I didn't have it plugged in, so I've done all this voiceover and I was just talking to myself. But honestly, via Bluetooth, it's okay as well. Like, I'm having fun on Mario Kart. If there's any differences, honestly, I'm not feeling it. And like I said, on 3D, I don't really feel it too much. I'm quite happy playing it with this controller. You know, it's very, very decent, and I definitely recommend this for the Nintendo 64 core. It is just, it works well on it, man. It works well, even via Bluetooth. It's fine. Now if I was playing like 2D games or arcade games, I might feel a little bit of latency, but to be honest, there's not enough of these on the Nintendo 64. The games I'm going to be playing are on the analog stick, and I have to say the analog stick is accurate. Like, when I have a bad D-pad or a bad analog stick on the MiSTer, when I'm navigating through the MiSTer operating system, like many of you may have as well, when I move it up and down, like on the Tribute one, when I move it up and down on the D-pad, I get accident diagonals and it ends up going to left and right. Even the little analog stick on this, it's very, very accurate. And honestly, even via Bluetooth, this is the way I'm going to be playing it. If there was a lot of latency, I may have considered playing it wired, but I'm happy playing the N64 with it via Bluetooth. You know, I haven't really tested more games apart from Mario Kart, but in Mario Kart, everything's just working nice. Okay, so here we are with Captain Commando again, and one thing I really do like about it, I really thought having the controller wired and then wireless, I'd have to do the controls again, but once you set them as wired, you've got exactly the same controls on wireless. I might be ignorant, might be different. Yeah guys, like, the latency is not that bad for Bluetooth. Like, I could still enjoy this game. I'd rather play this with an RF controller or like an arcade stick, but there's a slight, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to tell. When I'm walking, I don't know, it's hard to tell. There's a very, very slight delay there, but it's not enough to ruin the experience. I mean, I'm not going to play arcade games on this. I just wanted to see how bad the latency was. Now, the Bluetooth adapter I bought was recommended by, I think, Binary Luke over on the Discord when I was buying the Nintendo Switch Online controller. He said it's really, really good. It doesn't drop connections or anything. And I'm glad I took that advice because, like, so far this Bluetooth adapter has been really, really good. And honestly, even via Bluetooth, if you do decide to play arcade games on it, which I wouldn't recommend you guys do, you can if you want to, and it works. It works well. And this has surprised me of how decent this Bluetooth controller is. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. And I just want to say, guys, I probably said it in here before, this isn't a comprehensive like latency guide or anything. Definitely check MiSTer Add-ons. You know, MiSTer Add-ons has got a sheet. I'll see if I can find it and link it in the description. But he talks about latency and measures latencies from a very, very scientific perspective about all the controllers out there. But if you're getting this for the N64 core, man, you can't go wrong with this. Honestly, it's really, really good. Okay, so this is something I wanted to try. Currently, GoldenEye isn't working on the Nintendo 64 core for the MiSTer, so I'm running this via RetroArch on my Windows PC. Now, I tried using this controller as a wired controller first, and it wasn't picking up. Usually, RetroArch is really good. It automatically picks up controllers. So then I within RetroArch, I went into update controller profiles. It didn't pick up this profile, it didn't work. And then I went into the menu, I went into inputs, and I tried to bind everything manually. It just wasn't picking it up. When I was saying, you know, let's allocate something to up, down, B, A, it was picking up nothing. So then what I did was I tried it via Bluetooth. So I went into the Windows, you know, Bluetooth, add a Bluetooth device. I then pressed the sync button on this controller, and bang guys, Windows picked it up. It picked it up as a Nintendo 64 Bluetooth controller. It just connected straight away, seamless, like really good. And when I ran RetroArch and I loaded GoldenEye, I didn't have to configure any of the controls. The controls are exactly like what they're supposed to be, or they're exactly like they are on the Nintendo 64. Takes a little bit of getting used to because I'm not used to this control scheme, but it does feel good playing it on an actual N64 controller. So, you know, if I'm playing, like I intend to play the Perfect Dark PC reverse engineered port at some time, I'll probably use this controller on there. And honestly, like playing GoldenEye, it felt decent. So it works on the PC, but only via Bluetooth, not wired. Now there might be a workaround, there might be something you can do. I didn't really look into it. I'm quite happy using it Bluetooth. On the odd occasion I emulate something. It looks like the need for emulation is going to go soon, because when we get our N64 core fully operational, it will kind of nullify the need to run it anywhere else, because that will be the best way to play it, bar original hardware. So, you know, if you are going to get this, you can use it on your PC, you can use it on your Switch. Now, one thing I'm not going to show here, I'm not going to show it working on the Nintendo Switch. If you want to see it working on a Switch, just search YouTube. I'm sure there's plenty of videos up there. This video is a little different. As you can see, I've been quite unorthodox in how I've done stuff. I've tested arcade games on the MiSTer with it. But yeah, that's it. It works well. Okay, guys, so honestly, that's it for this video. I really do like this controller more than I thought I would. The analog stick on it is very robust. It feels stronger than what might have been on the original N64. I like that it's USB-C. It just works really well. It works well out of the box. Oh yeah, there's no expansion port on there. I don't know if it rumbles yet. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. At least it didn't for me, or whatever I tried it on, it didn't have like a rumble feature. I think it does from what I read. But guys, this controller is good. Like, if you want to get it to play the N64 corner MiSTer, it's decent. It also works on RetroArch, but like we found out, it doesn't work wired. It only works via Bluetooth. But this is a good controller. And obviously, if you're going to use it on the Switch, you're going to use it on the Switch. That's not something I'm ever going to use. I'm only ever going to use this really on the MiSTer, occasionally, possibly on the PC. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this kind of guide tutorial, my thoughts on this controller. If you did, then a subscription and a like is always appreciated. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.